Hello everyone and welcome to Superman Homepage Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com, the Superman fan site, the number one Superman fan site in the world. My name is Steve Eunice. In this, our June 19th, 2023 show, we're going to be covering a range of topics, including what's happening with the auditions for Superman Legacy, what's going on with the cast cuts for Season 4 of Superman and Lois. We're going to be talking comic books, doing our weekly segments that we like to do, and talk about so much more. And obviously, you can look to the left of me, to the right of me, depending on which way it's positioned.
Yeah.
My
Hello,
good friend
Steve.
Mark Lax is joining me again tonight, my co-host. Hey, Mark, how you doing?
All right, Steve, how you doing?
Yeah, no, not doing too badly at all. Obviously, Michael Bailey has stepped out for this week's show. Told us last week that he wasn't going to be able to do this week because it's his wife Rachel's birthday and he's treating her out to a special day. So we wish Rachel a very happy birthday and hope that they're enjoying
Happy birthday, Rachel.
having a good day off. So Michael will be back with us next week. But Mark is stepping in once again to help out. Thank you, Mark, for doing that.
Sure.
Now, folks, if you are interested in getting onto tonight's show, you could be watching this via YouTube, Facebook, or on Twitter. We do take live calls usually around the second half hour of the show. So if you're interested, and this is going to be a little bit tricky because my screen is usually up on the right-hand side, but you're going to have a look at Mark while I put up the graphic here. Oh, no, it's just still got me there. So what you can see there is the address that you need to go to supermanhomepage.com/live, where you can press the call now button, or that's if you're on your computer, or if you're using your phone, you can grab your camera on your phone, scan that QR code on your screen right now, and that'll take you to the same place, and you'll go into the green room where you'll be able to continue watching and listening to the show before you get on and talk to us tonight. But if you're a little bit shy and don't want to get on the phone tonight, you can also participate in the comments, both on YouTube and on Facebook. Mark and I can keep an eye on that feed and react to your questions and comments as the show goes on, so you can talk to us, ask questions. But if you'd like your question or comment featured on the screen live during the show, that is called a super chat. That's on YouTube. All you do is click the dollar symbol there on YouTube. A slider will appear on your screen. You decide on the dollar amount you're willing to donate. We will feature your question or comment live on the screen as we go along. And if you want to support the show, then you can simply click the join button there on YouTube. There are different levels of perks for different levels of membership. And speaking of members and patrons, thank you to our sponsors, Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, and Tina Murray. We appreciate your support. You can join those fine folks by being a sponsor. As I said, you can click the join button below, or you can go to patreon.com/Superman homepage. All right, so as I said, we've got a few things to get to tonight. We like to speak about the movie side of things, and this past week we had James Gunn doing a number of things, including being a guest on Michael Rosenbaum's podcast, Inside of You, is the title of the podcast. Here is what he had to say about Lex Luthor. Have a look, listen about this.
Or just promise that, or will the Lex Luthor character, there'll be a Lex Luthor, right? Isn't that already known?
Yeah, everybody thinks there's a Lex Luthor out there, but I've never said there was a Lex Luthor in there.
All right, so if there were a Lex Luthor.
If there were a Lex Luthor, okay.
If there were a Lex Luthor in this movie, and there's a lot of other villains, so it may not be Lex Luthor.
And you are the best Lex. Let's admit it. We know you're the best Lex.
Come on, you're being funny.
I'm not being funny. You're definitely the best Lex.
Really?
Definitely.
But not right for your movie.
Not right for I didn't say there was even a Lex in the movie. So.
I know, but if there were a Lex Luthor, promise me this.
Uh-huh.
He'll have gravitas, or he'll be Lex Luthor. He won't be playing Lex Luthor, but he's more acting like this character or this or goofy or crazy. He's going to be something that's grounded and real. I know you. I'm sure that's
everything's grounded and real. Yeah. Yeah. Everything's grounded and real.
Because I'm not saying anybody's done that. I'm just saying that,
maybe somebody's done that.
Maybe.
Definitely commenting on Jesse Eisenberg.
100%. Not that they were actually mentioning any names, but you could see that that's where they were going with that. But interesting that, I mean, I know they're friends, and a lot of people would consider Michael Rosenbaum to be the best Lex Luthor.
Arguably, if not the best, one of the very best.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, obviously there's some great actors that have gone before him, like Gene Hackman and that. But as far as the version of Lex Luthor that most people liked, I think Rosenbaum's was probably closer to the John Byrne type of Lex Luthor that we've come to know and love in the last 30-odd years, 20-odd years.
I'd say so.
Yeah. So, yeah, interesting that Gunn still wouldn't confirm whether or not there was a Lex Luthor in his film. That a lot of people out there are still saying that. But, yeah, it will be interesting to see if there is a Lex Luthor in Superman Legacy. But interesting to hear the comments and thoughts there of that. Now, as to whether or not the costume for Superman Legacy will have the famous red trunks, like the Christopher Reeve costume, or whether it will go a trunkless look like the Man of Steel and Superman and Lois costumes, remains to be seen. James Gunn had a few things to say on that topic when he was discussing this on Twitter. He said, somebody asked him, is the costume going to have trunks? And he said, undecided. We are doing incredible amounts of concept art now with both, and we'll use whatever version looks best. For me, the most important aspect of the character go beyond trunks.
Well, it's not a deal breaker for me. I mean, of course, I love the trunks more than without, but it's not a deal breaker. But look, I mean, I think Tyler's suit looks great on Superman and Lois, and he doesn't have the trunks.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think they could. I think they could do a really great suit without the trunks. I mean, a lot of people really liked Henry Cavill's suit. Excuse me, and there was no trunks there, so. I think, look, if they had trunks, would I be really happy? Sure. If it doesn't have trunks, again, not a deal breaker.
Yeah,
I'm sure as long as the suit looks good, I have no problem.
I agree. I don't think it's a deal breaker either way. It is interesting that on Superman and Lois, we have seen Tyler Hoechlin in both a Superman costume with the trunks and without the trunks when they did the Fleischer classic look. Yeah. He still looked good. And, we have seen Henry Cavill doing in photographs, wearing when he's doing the audition process or what have you, the screen tests, he wore the Christopher Reeve costume at one point in time. So I think both versions can work, and we've seen it in a live action version in recent times, as I said, with Superman and Lois, with Tyler Hoechlin wearing both, and a lot of people loved the Fleischer-esque costume, and he looked really good in it. And there have been some negative comments about his Superman costume that he wears regularly because of the colors being fairly muted or dirty looking. A lot of the people saying that it's not as clean or crisp clear as it could be. But I think that's a artistic choice because they're saying, this is a Superman that's been around for a while. He's more mature. He's weathered. Same goes with the 5 o'clock shadow, that he's always got a bit of beard stubble. Because they're showing that he is a bit older, that he's got twin sons who are in their teens, late teens now. So it's it's an artistic choice what they go with there.
Yeah, and no, of course, would I like it a little brighter? Yeah, but it's again not that big a deal.
And this was the image that James Gunn put up on Superman Day this last week. We celebrated that and on June 12th, and he said, one character changed the world, adding to his legacy has already been one of the most joyful aspects of my life. Happy Superman Day, which started the conversation in regards to trunks or no trunks. Interesting to see that probably about 75% of those costumes don't have trunks. Maybe it's more like 60-40, but either way, it's still an interesting image that he put up there, which started the conversation in regards to his comment about whether they're decided or undecided as to what they're going to do as far as the concept art for the costume design is concerned for Superman Legacy, which, as we know, will be in theaters. What is it? July? What's the date that they're doing it? It will be out.
Is it July? Is it June?
July 11th, 2025.
July 11th. Okay.
Yeah.
And as long as the writers go back and
Yeah, well, I mean, Gunn has finished the first draft or drafts of the film, so, and being the director himself, you know, he obviously has an idea in mind of what he plans to do there. So there also has been some discussion that in regards to the auditions for Superman Legacy. As we reported earlier this month, in-person auditions were said to be taking place the weekend of Father's Day, so this past weekend. And James Gunn and Peter Safran were supposed to be meeting with actors hoping to win the roles of Clark Kent Superman and Lois Lane. And the images on your screen are of some of those actors. We've got supposedly, we had Nicholas Hoult, David Corenswet, and Tom Brittney, who were said to be trying out for the role of Superman Clark Kent, while Emma Mackey, Rachel Brosnahan, and Phoebe Dynevor were said to be testing for Lois Lane. And the reason I mention it again is because James Gunn went on to his social media account on the new Blue Sky social media platform, and then confirmed it on Twitter that was him, saying, amazing weekend of auditions for Superman Legacy. I'm blown away by some of these actors, among the best I've ever seen or worked with. That's an impressive comment.
They, as far as look, they all, both Clark and Lois, they all have the look. I only have heard of two of those people. Yes. Actually, I've heard of Nicholas Hoult, though I'm not that familiar with him. I know Rachel Brosnahan. The other four, I have no idea who they are.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen many of them before, so it'll be interesting to see. And that's the idea, I guess. I know some of them look familiar, and I've heard of the names of some of them before, but that's what you want in these roles, is you want people who are not necessarily, household names. They should obviously still be great actors that can perform, but the general public will probably not recognize them for the most part, and that's the way it should be, I think, for these iconic roles, that they can just step into the clothes, into the costume, and be able to embody the character without having too much baggage coming along with them.
Right. I mean, occasionally it does work. Amy Adams,
yes,
she was certainly well known before, and Ben Affleck and what have you. But again, the more famous the person, the more you're kind of outside of it. You're not.
Yeah.
You don't see them as much as the character, maybe.
No, exactly. So there is the auditions that took place, and it'll be interesting to see what comes out of all that. But looking forward to seeing. Yeah, Nicholas Hoult is somebody that I do recognize, and I don't necessarily think he has the facial structure that I would like for Superman. But
the guy at the end, on the
David Corenswet.
He had a good look.
Yeah. I think he's probably the favourite amongst fans at the moment, in the names that have been put out there. So we'll wait and see if that does come to hand. All right, The Flash, the new movie, is out in theatres now. Neither you or I have had a chance to see it yet. But there are spoilers out there, and we're not going to spoil too many things here. So just a little bit of a spoiler warning, and I will put up a graphic. There we go. Spoiler alert, just in case you are trying to keep out of anything to do with The Flash in regards to cameos or what have you. If you're watching this show as live, as long as that spoiler alert graphic is up on your screen, I would suggest you probably mute the speaker, because there are some things that we will be speaking about that may be considered spoilery. Or if you're watching this later on and after the fact, same thing, you can forward through the video until that graphic is no longer on your screen, and then you will be able to tune back in. So, with that having been said, fans who have seen the Flash movie, and now neither you or I have seen it yet, planning to hopefully see it this week, as I think you were saying similar, you're hoping to see this next week. There are cameo appearances by, whether it's CGI or old footage of past Superman characters, such as Christopher Reeve, George Reeves, and Helen Slater's Supergirl, I believe, is also another one. Again, sorry if I'm spoiling this for you, Mark, but this is what we have to do on this show. We have to talk about things that people...
Now you made me want to see it more.
So,
want to see it more now.
And then there's the big one, which was for many people the most interesting, and that was Nicolas Cage as Superman. And now
I heard that.
they actually got him back in to film his scenes for this film with a giant spider, no less, because obviously that was one of the big things
That was
in
the
Superman Lives. That was supposed to be one of the scenes that they were trying to get in there.
Yeah.
And they did some capture of his actual performance, and then they used CGI to make him look younger and what have you, because this is supposed to be set in the 1990s. So when Superman Lives was supposed to come out, so that's why it's set in that kind of a situation. But yeah, interesting cameos. I believe that these are more to the end of the film. So there was also alternate endings that were either shot or considered or scripted. One of them involving Henry Cavill's Superman standing by with Sasha Calle's Supergirl, but that obviously was scrapped once the whole new direction was done for the DC Studios new slate of films. Very interesting. I would love to watch the Blu-ray extras or bonus material that they put on this movie once it comes out, with some of the behind the scenes of what they had planned, what they did, how they did it. I think it would be fascinating.
Definitely. I mean, I think, for this being, such a multiversal film, and depending on when they first made, when they made it, like 3 years ago, more or less, the Snyderverse was not necessarily done with at that point. It was still, I think it was still more of a question. Was it 2020? Well, that's when did his version of the Justice League?
Good question. That was 2021, was it?
Yeah. Okay. So, they probably weren't sure what they were going to do with all the characters, just because, the Justice, just because Snyder wasn't, there anymore. I mean, they could have gone ahead with Ezra Miller, and, there's still an Aquaman movie, and,
yep.
Also, spoiler alert, I heard Wonder Woman made an appearance in the Shazam movie. And
yep.
So, you don't know. They could have made certain endings to go to the next movie, and now that's not going to be happening. So it would be very interesting to see those endings and what originally they wanted to do.
So yeah, some really interesting things there happening with the Flash film. Box office takings aside and critics ratings aside, I've seen a lot of fans that were, pretty happy with the film and enjoyed it. So, take it with a grain of salt, what you read on the internet. Go out, if you intend to, go out and see it for yourself. Make up your own mind. Don't allow the reviews or, views of others spoil it for you or sway you one way or the other. If you're excited to see cameos of Superman characters, see what Supergirl is like, go out and see the film for yourself.
I got to be perfectly honest. Michael Keaton, Supergirl are the main reason I want to go see this movie.
Yeah,
and also there are little surprises. I'm just Easter eggs. I'd like to see.
Exactly. So yeah, really interesting. The Flash is in theaters now. Hopefully, we'll both have a chance to see it before our next live show, so that we can then discuss it properly moving forward. But Water Tower Music released samples of the soundtrack, the musical score for the original motion picture soundtrack for The Flash by Benjamin Wallfish. And there are tracks labeled Supergirl, Kal-El with a question mark, and Zod. So here is a little bit. I'm not going to play too much of it for obvious reasons, for copyright, but here's a little bit of the Supergirl theme from the Flash soundtrack. There's just a little bit. You can see, listen to, I should say, the 3 tracks that I mentioned, or samples from those 3 tracks, on the Superman homepage website and the original motion picture soundtrack for The Flash is available to purchase from your favorite music venue, wherever you might get it. Amazon Prime, Amazon Music, Apple, what have you. You can be able to check those out if you wish to purchase it.
Not familiar with the composer,
No, I've
but
not. Yeah.
I mean that those few seconds you played sounded nice. I mean, I might seek it out, but I'm not familiar with his name.
No, I've not heard of anything he's done before, so that would be interesting to see what else he has done. But you mentioned Sasha Calle being one of the reasons, her Supergirl being one of the reasons you want to see The Flash, and she has been doing a lot of the promo for the film, with obviously Ezra Miller not necessarily being the person that Warner Brothers wants to put out there to promote the film. So she's been doing a lot of interviews and what have you, and she expressed to ET Online or Entertainment Tonight that she would be very much interested in returning to play the character again. We do know that there is a Supergirl film coming from Warner Brothers titled Supergirl, the Woman of Tomorrow, and whether or not she would be considered for such a role would be interesting. But she said, absolutely, are you kidding me? I love her so much, and I feel very deeply. I think this movie was a runaway to a better story for her. So that's, I mean, she does, the Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow comic book story, which the film will supposedly be adapted from, saw Kara go on an intergalactic adventure. But Calais says that she would be more interested in exploring Kara's life on Earth, saying, I just want to dive deeper into Kara and her feelings, into her day-to-day. I would just love to see her in regular clothes and human clothes. As a fan, the whole time that I was filming, I kept thinking, what would she wear? What glasses would she wear? And so on and so forth. So that would be obviously a different type of film than what Supergirl, the Woman of Tomorrow seems to be about.
Of course, I'm sure if they approached her for Woman of Tomorrow, considering the type of story Woman of Tomorrow was, because I guess whether it's in any kind of continuity that's going on in the comics now, I don't know. It seemed to be outside of continuity. And considering everything that he's doing this Superman movie where Superman is just kind of starting out, and then he's doing the Supergirl movie. If he might be able to keep it separate, James Gunn,
Yeah.
and could use her for Woman of Tomorrow, but that all depends. I mean, it depends on the reaction, of the fans, and we have to see what the fans have to say. And of course, you're going to get a lot of negative and all of that, but I mean, I think you can get a good sense of people saying, yeah, she was good. Like to see more of her. Or we'll take it from there.
Yeah, Diner Guy in the comments says that the composer for The Flash did the first Shazam movie. So,
Okay.
obviously, not a new name, but yeah, new to you and I anyway.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I saw the first Shazam. So.
Yes, so did I. All right. So this past week, also June 14th, marked 10 years since Man of Steel premiered in theaters back in 2013. I did a video on Man of Steel questions and answers, which delved into all the questions that were coming in about Man of Steel at the time and over the years, fans, the questions that came in that through the Superman homepage that fans were not sure about as far as the film's continuity and story were concerned. I put a lot of effort into that that video that I put together. Had a lot of dodging with copyright issues, trying to put scenes from the film to answer questions and things that went back and forth with YouTube's copyright issues, but finally got approved. So yeah, if you're interested, head to our website, supermanhomepage.com, and in the movie section, you'll see the Man of Steel. Says celebrating the Man of Steel movie 10-year anniversary. A little bit of an article, and then the video below if you want to check that out. But yeah, here we are, 10 years later for Man of Steel. Do you have fond memories of when this film came out?
Well, yes
Or
and no.
mixed?
I didn't
Mixed.
for some reason I did not see it as soon as it came out, which I thinking back now, I have absolutely no idea why, but I didn't see it as as soon as it came out, and I the the Zod killing of Zod I think was already spoiled for me. But
Mm,
that was okay. But when I saw it, I liked it, and I mean of the three Snyder movies, I mean I like this the best, even though I have plenty of problems with it.
sure.
Um, but and I like this the best. I mean, it wasn't again. I mean, it's a Superman for a new era. He
Hmm.
was a super going to be anyway, and he certainly wasn't the type of Superman that I like to read. I mean, he was much more dour, much more. I mean, that's not. I mean, credit to Henry Cavill. I mean, he did a great job, and I would have
Mm,
loved to have seen him, do another film, but that's not going to happen. But no, I mean, he did a fine job. It's just this was not a happier Superman. This was
mm.
not. I mean, right away they started, with this world just being, I guess it's a more realistic take
Sure.
on the world. But when you're dealing with Superman, you don't want all that reality.
No,
You
I'm
know,
with you. It was an interesting take on what would happen if, a man like that did arrive on Earth. How would we treat him? How would he be received? And yeah, people wouldn't just be clapping and cheering for him
right?
straight off the bat. There would be a lot of cynical, skeptical people, and the conspiracy theories would be out there. I mean, we know the world the way it is now. Then that would be, more of how it would probably go. But as you say, it's Superman, so you would like to see a more positive take on things. And I love Henry Cavill as the character, and I agree with you that this was the best of the three or four films, or however you want to look at it,
Three and a
in
half.
regards to Man of with Henry Cavill playing in the role. And I have very fond memories because 10 years ago I was in New York. I'd for the first time traveled to New York for the Man of Steel world premiere. Landed on the day of the world premiere. Got to the hotel room, scrambled to get into my suit, walked across to the. So I made sure I got a hotel right near where the theater was that it was being screened for the world premiere. Had my tickets in hand. Went with my sister and some friends to the world premiere, and then we got bussed to the after party where we got to hang out with some of the stars and directors and what have you. And it was just a wonderful, wonderful experience. And then I had the daunting task at 2 a.m. in the morning, never having been to New York, to jump on a subway, go into the subway and catch a train back to the hotel. I had no
Oh
idea what I
wow,
was doing. First time
going to
ever
the
in New
subway.
York.
I mean,
Yeah, 2 a.m.
I have a QAM on the subway. I've been on the subway. But you really have to know New York. You really have to really know which train and go here and go there. If you're not, if you're not really from New York or don't work in New York, subway is very tricky.
Yeah, so that was a very
At 2
interesting
a.m. in the morning,
experience.
maybe not the best.
Yeah, it was quite an eye opener. But nevertheless, yeah, I have very fond memories of Man of Steel, and it was a great time. And seeing, all the billboards and going to Times Square and seeing everything lit up there and the massive screens and how it was all being celebrated was pretty awesome. So it was a very good time. All right, we are now at the halfway mark of tonight's show. Going to take a quick break. Come on the flip side of these commercial break to talk about what's happening with Superman and Lois, the season 4 renewal, or what it means for regular cast members, and we'll also get into the comic book side of things. We'll talk about this week in history, our fan favorite question, and so much more. We'll be back right after these messages. Don't go anywhere, folks.
We'll be back in a moment with the exciting climax of today's episode. So stand by.
If you're enjoying Superman Homepage Live, then please like and share this video with your family and friends. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to our YouTube channel, then you can click on the bell to receive notifications whenever we post a new video. You can also join our YouTube membership program, just click the join button below. Or you can become a patron and support our website by going to patreon.com/Superman homepage.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird.
It's a plane. No, it's SupermanHomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. SupermanHomepage.com, covering the world of Superman from the 1930s to today. News, reviews, rumors, and reports. SupermanHomepage.com for all your Superman comics, TV shows, movies, cartoons, radio shows, and more. Everything you ever wanted to know about the Man of Steel and more. SupermanHomepage.com.
Thanks, Superman Homepage, for all the support over the years. I really appreciate it.
I'm Matt Bomer. I'm the voice of Superman and Superman Unbound, and this is the Superman Homepage.
Right here on Superman Homepage.
Kraft Macaroni and Cheese presents new DC superheroes. C-Rex is cooling down his cronies. Has a cheesy nightmare Oni.
Superheroes restore our cheesy harmony.
Make a daring rescue Oni. Save our cheesy macaroni. Kraft presents new DC superheroes Macaroni and Cheese with Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and more. The evil villains overthrown with superpowers Phantasmagoric. C-Rex sure wakes up grateful Oni. For DC superheroes macaroni.
I can honestly say that I've never had mac and cheese.
You've never had mac and cheese?
It's not.
I don't love mac and cheese.
I think it's an American thing. It's just not something that we, we don't do it here.
I'm not a fan of it either. I've had it certainly, but I'm not a fan of mac and cheese.
There you go.
All right.
right.
I love cheese and pasta, so I don't know.
Yeah, well, let's get into the Superman and Lois discussion. We got the news, as we spoke last week, that Superman and Lois had been renewed for a 4th season, and we knew that it would be cut down to 10 episodes for season 4 with the budget cut concerns that the CW had as far as, one of the, negotiating the renewal of the show, one of the things was, yes, they would have to cut some costs, and reducing the episode count to 10 was one of those considerations. This season is 13. I think previous seasons were 15. So it's being reduced down to 10. But then we got the news, thanks to Dylan Walsh's wife, I think her name was Leslie, on Instagram. She made mention of the fact that her husband, Dylan, was being one of the casualties of the budget cuts because General Sam Lane, Lois's father on the show, would not be a regular cast member moving forward. He would, in fact, probably just be in a cameo or recurring role. And then we found out on the back of that the next day that it wasn't just Dylan Walsh, but pretty much the entire cast, other than the Superman and Superman, Lois, and their sons. 7 of the cast members who were series regulars, including Emmanuel Chikri, who plays Lana Lang, Eric Valdez, who plays Kyle Cushing, Indy Navarrete, who plays Sarah Cushing, Wale Parks, who plays John Henry, Taylor Buck, who plays Natalie Irons, and Sophia Hasmick, who plays Chrissy Beppo, have all been cut as series regular cast members and will probably just be recurring characters or guest stars for season 4.
Yeah, that hurts the show a lot. Look, we don't have to see everybody every episode.
Sure.
But considering, we may hopefully will at least see them in an episode or 2, which won't really, be the best, but better than nothing. But one of the things about the show is just the ensemble. Everybody works so great together, such great chemistry. And
I don't have that much of a problem with it because it's been cut down to 10 episodes. Some of the criticisms that have been made of this show have been, if there are any, and obviously there always are criticisms, even though it's a beloved show by many, and it's doing really well in the ratings. One of the criticisms that I do see is people going, "Oh, I don't really care about the Cushings. I couldn't care less about Kyle and Sarah, and what's going on with Lana. And Lana to a lesser degree, because Lana Lang's a beloved character from many different iterations. But so it's not, if they're going to only have 10 episodes and you have to concentrate on just Clark, Superman, Lois, John, and Jordan, then it gives them more screen time, and that's who we're really here to watch. But I agree with you that the ensemble cast does do a lot for why this show is so rich in flavour as far as all the storylines are concerned. And I will miss seeing John Henry as much because I do like the way that they've brought that character in and how he's developed. But, Sam Lane, to a lesser degree, Chrissy Beppo.
I mean, as far as Sam, as far as the DOD stuff or whatever, that's not a big deal. They could always hire anybody to be there to, if there's a problem and Superman comes in, they don't need Sam Lane to be there. But, it's more for the emotional support, his family, his daughter, his grandchildren, that you miss some of that. I mean, I'll be honest. If it was, just Sam and Kyle, maybe one of the others only made a couple of appearances. Yeah, to see them all pretty much just get cut. I agree with you that sometimes, this happened with Supergirl, that the supporting cast just, overloaded the show. They didn't quite happen with this show, but yeah, there was a lot with the Cushings that really didn't involve, Superman and Lois. And yeah, I agree that there's a little too much. And a lot of the kids getting drunk or going to a party. And they're kids. They're going to show that. But, Natalie and Mateo, I really like that relationship and all that. But that was also something that we didn't necessarily have to follow. So,
yeah. And there's there's no doubt that they'll all be appearing. They won't be regular cast members. So not every episode will you have to see them. They'll probably show up as much as the younger sister of Lana, younger daughter of Lana, Sophie. So maybe a bit more often.
I'd like to see. I would like to see Sarah a little bit. With Jordan.
With Jordan,
and obviously I would have, of all of them. I would like to see Lana be in there a little more, being both a famous character and also now she's the mayor.
Yeah, exactly. We're on a more positive side of things. We do get a new series regular cast member for season 4, and that is Michael Cutlett as Lex Luthor.
Yes.
So Lex will be pretty much in every episode next year.
You know what? That's good. I know a lot of people say enough of Lex, too much Lex, but we haven't had any Lex in this series. So now, what might be their last season, I think that's perfect. That Lex is going to be the main villain.
Well, we don't know if it's the last season. It could possibly be.
Well,
the writing is on the wall. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Question, could this see the family move back to Metropolis, therefore, if we are going to be concentrating on Lex Luthor and have all those other cast members become supporting characters rather than regular characters? Could they move away from Smallville? Because it's not Smallville like the TV series was labeled Smallville. You had to stay there pretty much, and even then they still got into Metropolis later in the seasons. But this is Superman and Lois, so they can be anywhere.
You know what? I would like to see them in Metropolis more. I know they said that they may be cutting down on the effects, so you're going to see him more as a family man. What I would like to see is him more as a reporter.
Yeah.
Both of them, on the street, doing what they do best. It'd be nice to see them in the Daily Planet. It doesn't have to be, again, every episode. It doesn't have to be a whole, Lois and Clark kind of big Daily Planet situation. But no, it would be, I would like to see them in Metropolis.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. So that's a possibility, I guess, if we are going to be cutting down on those regular cast members who have been part of the show for the past 3 seasons. So let's see where that goes. Now, with the show only got 2 more episodes left, and we get a new one tomorrow night there in the US and tomorrow night here in Australia, titled Injustice. We do know that Michael Cutlitz is in as Lex Luthor, who is now coming out of jail, having been falsely imprisoned for the particular thing that he was imprisoned for. But we will see that tomorrow night and look forward to seeing Michael Bailey's review of that in the coming days after that. But the cast, with the writer strike, they're not into season 4 yet. They haven't, they've long been finished with season 3, even though we haven't finished watching the episodes. It's long been finished as far as production is concerned. So the cast members have been out and about in conventions and what have you. Tyler Hoechlin was at the Superman celebration last weekend with Jesse Rath and Nicole Maines. Nicole Maines has been a guest on this show a couple of months ago. And supposedly, and the Q&A for both the Jesse Rath and Nicole Maines Q&A, a video of that, and a video of Tyler Hoechlin's Q&A at Metropolis are both up on our YouTube channel. If you haven't checked those out, you should do so. But Tyler and Elizabeth Tulloch, or Bitsy Tulloch, were both here in Australia this past weekend for Supernova convention, Supernova Sydney, and then they headed to Perth, Australia for this coming weekend. I was at Supernova on Sunday and got to sit in on Bitsy's Q&A panel, which went for about 40-45 minutes. Got front row seats there to be able to video that for everyone. It is up on our YouTube channel as well, and I did get to ask her a question during that panel, so you can watch the video on our website and on our YouTube channel. Now, it was great walking around the convention floor. Got to chat to quite a few people. Got recognized by a couple of people who saw me in the crowd, and one was wearing a Superman costume, and a couple of others were on Artist Alley and were artists who have worked on or done Superman posters and things for fans, and stopped me and we had a good chat. So it was nice to catch up with a few fans who are fans of both the show and our website. So that was really nice. But it's great to see that these actors are going out and about and doing these conventions and Q&A panels and what have you. So definitely worth checking out those videos if you get a chance.
Sure. Yeah.
And Tyler, in one interview with ImpulseGamer.com, spoke about playing Superman, and he said that one of the best things about and the most challenging things about wearing the Superman costume is that the best thing is seeing the kids' reactions of people who spot them when they're filming, or anyone gets a kick out of it. And he's saying that that's really cool. But he also says that it's a pretty daunting challenge, doing all the long days and the stunt work and physical work that they have to do. So interesting interview there from Tyler talking about that, and also talks about passing on the torch as far as anybody who's going to play Superman next in Superman Legacy, and for everyone to give them a chance. And I thought he had some really good things to say there.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, he really looks like a great guy. And yeah, I suppose he would be passing the torch, even if they do continue the series, being the last guy to now play Superman. I suppose he would be passing the torch.
And even though we do get a season 4, that will be finished before we get Superman Legacy on the big screen.
Right.
Even though it'll be in production and what have you. Season 4 of Superman and Lois will be done and dusted way before Superman Legacy hits our screens. So if there is a season 5, we hope. We always are hopeful, but if
Fingers
not,
are crossed.
It'll be definitely him passing the torch on to whoever comes next. But speaking of what's coming next, Superman, or My Adventures with Superman, the animated series, premiering July 6th at midnight on Adult Swim, and then available to stream next day on Max. I can't say anything officially about, because there's embargoes, and you've got to keep your lip buttoned as far as whether or not you get to see advanced screenings.
Mm-hmm.
But I am very excited about My Adventures with Superman, and we'll be able to talk more about that when I'm able to. But Adult Swim did release an opening intro for the animated series, and I'm going to play a little bit of that for you now. Here is the opening intro for My Adventures with Superman, the animated series. How cool is that?
That looks cool. It really does.
So yeah, it's got an anime feel about the design and the animation and the style, but yeah, I can't say much more. But I'm looking forward to seeing this play out. So yeah, July 6th.
Yeah,
all right,
that I'm really looking forward to.
Yes. All right, the comic book. Actually, no. You know what? Let's do the fan favorite segment of our show. Here's our intro. All right, our question from last week was, what is your favorite Dan Jurgens Superman image? We had a few people who sent in their responses for this. Who was first up, Mark? You got your email there?
Yeah, I gotta go back to my email. Sorry.
All good. I'll get the images.
Sorry. Okay.
Here we go.
Rommel Ketunkin, I think. Well, there are many to choose from, especially from The Death of Superman. This cover for Time Masters Vanishing Point #4 by Dan Jurgens, Norm Ratmund, and Hi-Fi design is memorable and nostalgic. Is memorable and nostalgic to me. It depicts Superman, Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, Booster Gold, and Rip Hunter as they travel through time in search of Bruce Wayne.
Very cool. Yeah, it's not one that's necessarily more well known, but that's a great image. So thank you, Ramel, for showing us that one.
Yeah, it is a great image. I don't know if I've seen it before, to be honest.
JP Rocha said, my favorite Dan Jurgens Superman image is the cover from Superman Volume 2, issue number 75. Is there a more iconic image? Yes, the cape, almost like a flag there at the death of Superman. Very iconic. Thank you. Yeah. That's an awesome one. Thank you, JP.
Yeah, that is a very iconic image.
Who's next?
Ryan Ignatius Pratt wrote, my favorite Dan Jurgens cover would be that from Superman 150, second series. It is truly powerful. Honorable mention, though, goes to his beautiful 1990s variant cover for Action Comics 1000.
There it is there. Thank you, Ryan, for those images. Yeah, they're awesome examples of some of Dan Jurgens' great artwork. Thank you to those guys who sent in their answer to the fan favorite question. I didn't ask you beforehand to get it ready, but do you have a favorite image, Mark?
You know what? I can't even. I think there's so many.
Agreed.
I'm just trying. I'm just trying to think. I mean, wow. Was it the end of the reign of the Superman when Supergirl changes his costume back to the classic costume and he flies off? That was in Superman. That was Dan Jurgens. Was that?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah. Well, that image has always stayed with me.
Yes.
So yes. So that would be definitely that would definitely be it.
Yeah. No, there are so many great Dan Jurgens images. It'd be hard to pick, but I do love his version of Superman. Dan's a great guy. He's been on the show as well in the past. He's just got that iconic look about his Superman. He was probably one of the only artists that did a great job of doing the long-haired Superman that didn't look so mullety.
Yes, his was just a nice full head of hair, longer in the back. You know, there are others. I mean, Stuart Immonen, incredible artist, but when he drew him, the hair was all the way down the back.
Yeah.
And the others, the long-haired Superman, If everyone did it like he did, maybe it wouldn't have gotten so criticized. And it wasn't a mullet.
It was not a
It
mullet.
wasn't a mullet.
Okay. So the new fan favorite question for this week is, what is your favorite Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, praise be his name, image, Superman image, that is. So yes, we're moving similar theme, different artist this time. Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, what is your favorite Superman image of his? He's got so many iconic ones. Email address is there at the bottom of your screen, info@supermanhomepage.com. Send us your answers to this fan favorite question. And when we return to this next week, Michael and I will read out the answers to your response to this fan favorite question. So get involved, folks. There you have it. All right, let's move into This Week in History, which is usually Michael's department, but I'm going to try to wing it.
Come with me now, my son, as we break through the bubble of your earthly confinement, traveling through time and space.
All right. Okay, here we go. Let's see if I can manage this. So we've got first up, and I'm juggling a few things as I try different methods of getting images and what have you up. So first up, we have there's nothing in 1943 and nothing in 1953. So we jump right back to 1963 on June 20th. This issue came out, Superman 163. The hero who was greater than Superman, Wonder Man. So Wonder Man, the new hero of Metropolis, and there was also the Goofy Superman was a backup story in this. And that was
what was the backup?
The Goofy Superman.
The Goofy Superman.
So
I love the Silver Age. I know a lot of people. I mean, all right, it's not perfect.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
But I love the Silver Age.
So next up, we had Superboy, the Legion or Superboy 197, starring the Legion of Superheroes. The Legion of Superheroes had Timberwolf, Dead Hero, Live Executioner, and the Superboy story was the Slay Away Plan. So there you have it. That was Superboy 197 from 1973. Also in 1983, we had Action Comics 547, and this story was started the Planeteer, and the title was The Reincarnation of Alexander the Great. Interesting. And yes, interesting cover there.
Who do you know who did the cover?
It's the it says here. No, let's have a look. Michael would know just by looking at it.
Yeah, Michael wouldn't know.
It doesn't say on.
It looks familiar, but I just can't.
Yeah, I do. It's not the name of the artist is right on the tip of my tongue, but I can't think of who it is. Let's have a look here. It does say cover. Yeah, Gil Kane, of course.
Gil Kane, right? Okay, because Gil Kane was doing the book, I think, around that time.
And the Nostalgic Podblast says, I have that one. So that's a very cool Gil Kane cover. All right, then we move on to Superboy, New Adventures of Superboy number 45, also from 1983. Sunburst, Public Enemy number 1. And then there was also a backup story for Dial H for Hero, Dial O for Origin. This was Sunburst, Public Enemy number 1. So, Sunburst. There's a character you don't hear of much. Another Gil Kane
not much,
cover.
No.
So, and then in 1983, we also got this Superman movie special number 1 for Superman 3. And there's an anniversary that I will talk about in the real world. But, this had I Have Met the Enemy and He's Me story. So, a tie-in with Christopher Reeve, obviously, on the cover there from Superman 3. So that was this week in 1983 that came out.
No, that was a direct adaptation, was it? Was it not?
No,
as opposed. No, it wasn't.
Oh, it might be. Yeah, no, you're probably right. It probably was. I'm not sure. I don't
the first two
were not.
Weren't.
No.
No.
Also in 1983, this week, World's Finest Comics number 295, and this was a story that had Daughters of the Moon, so Superman and Batman and New Moon Dancers. There you go. So
I remember that issue. Not though it's not really memorable. I do remember reading that.
There you go. In 1993, we move forward. We're talking about Dan Jurgens. We have a Deadly Alliance in Superman number 80. And this was, obviously, as I said, a Dan Jurgens, Brett Breeding cover with Cyborg Superman there on the cover. Do you remember? You probably remember that one too.
Oh, are you kidding? That was, yeah.
Then in June 2003, we had Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Trinity number 1 come out. Pretty iconic image there. And then I'm not sure if Superman appeared in any of these, but we had JLA Scary Monsters number 4. And we also had that same week in 2003, JLA Welcome to the Working Week number 1. Superman is on the cover there. So I don't remember that one too well. But nevertheless, also in 2003, we had Superman Metropolis number 5. Small Favors, Welcome to the New World. That came out in 2003. Also in 2003, we had Supergirl, 2013, I should say. Supergirl number 21. That was part of the New 52. Be Careful What You Wish For was the story title for that. And then in the real world, let's have a look what we had. And I'm trying to get to my front page of the Superman homepage. For these, this is what we had in the real world to celebrate. Get rid of the Supergirl cover there. So on June, June 18th, Bud Collyer, born Clayton Johnson Hermance Jr., the voice of Superman in the 1940s radio series, was born in New York City, New York in 1908. But previous to that, on the day earlier, I don't have the image for it, but Superman number 3, as I said, was released in theaters June 17th. On June 18th, it's remembered as the day Superman landed on Earth. I'm trying to find the image for that. I did have an image for it.
That was June 18th, right?
June 18th, traditionally recognizes the day Kal-El landed on Earth. June 19th.
And Superman was born on that day as well. Bud Collyer.
Oh, Bud Collyer was, yes. So that's nice. Julius Schwartz, the longtime legendary editor of the Superman comic books, was born on June 19th, 1915. Also on June 19th, in 1981, Superman 2 was released to the USA. It had been released earlier, I believe, in Australia first in, I think it was December. But June 19th was when the film was released to theaters in the USA in 1981. On the 21st of June, Erica Durance was born in 19... Oh, that's not her. Get rid of her.
That's not Erica Durance.
No, she's a lot prettier than that. There she is. Erica Durance was born June 21st, 1978 in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Obviously, she played Lois Lane on the TV series Smallville. And Ron Ely, who played an older Superman in the Superboy TV series, was born in Texas in 1938, the year Superman was created. So that was this week in history. Don't do it as well as Michael does, but nevertheless, I got through it.
That's great.
There you have it. And that pretty much brings us to the end of tonight's show. We're kind of running a little bit over time, but it's a big week in the comic book side of things. Batman, Superman, World's Finest, number 16 is out this week. Superboy, The Man of Tomorrow, number 3 is out, as is Superman, number 5. And all those comics will be reviewed on our website tomorrow. But thank you, Mark, for being part of tonight's show, co-hosting with me in Michael Bailey's place. Really appreciate you stepping in for him.
Oh, anytime, Steve. Thank you.
And Michael and I will be back next week on June 26th, Monday night, for another episode of Superman Homepage Live, 7:30 p.m. Pacific Time. Hope you'll join us then. Until then, be sure to check out supermanhomepage.com for all your daily news updates on everything surrounding the Man of Steel. My name is Steve Eunice. On behalf of myself and Mark Lax, I want to thank our sponsors, Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, and Tina Murray. And until then, see you next time. Be sure to visit supermanhomepage.com. Good night, folks. Why is that theme playing? That's interesting.